my name is Dr. Joel-Onowakpo. I present the good people of Delta South in the 3rd District. Mr. Chairman, following from the last speaker, I want to join in to thank and appreciate the chairman of FRS. Speaking from the point of an accountant who was once a chairman of Board of Internal Revenue in the state, this is the first time that you can see that a budget, a amount that was projected was exceeded in collection. And I want to say that, like what my previous speaker just said, if we're able to give him all the support that he needs, which includes the reforms in our tax laws, I believe that the Federal Revenue Services will complement our overdependence on oil revenue. Taxes all over the world is the way to go. Oil revenue is a wasting asset. Every other revenue is a wasting asset. Companies depend on taxes for development. So I want to encourage you to deepen the process with your reforms, so that if you project 25 trillion budget, we are expecting to see 30 trillion collection. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you.
NNPC seems to fall below the standard of what we are used to, for the simple fact that for everybody who has come for budget presentation has come with documents, facts and figures, and we are able to look at the figures as they present. Mr. Chairman, I'm afraid that I won't be surprised that other agencies will come to this place and do the same thing. This presentation is what I will call a variable presentation. You cannot hold anything and no facts. And I want to also say again that, Mr. Chairman, this presentation does not provide for transparency. Please. And I do not see any reason why he can prepare for a budget defense. I cannot provide the documents for members. I do not see any other organ of government who has the responsibility to oversee and oversight its own areas of operation. So I have doubts, Mr. Chairman. I have doubts. And I don't know whether my colleagues are comfortable with it. But I'm not going to.
Thank you.
Then my questions, this is going to say everything. We can just note a few things down. Is it possible for us to know, is it possible for him to tell us what was the turnover? He has told us he contributed 10B to the Federation account. 10 T to the Federation. Is it possible to tell us the turnover, the actual, the budgeted and the actual, then the budgeted and the actual expenditure, and possibly if they have, since it's a limited liability company now, proofs of audited accounts for members to also peruse and see whether this decision that government has taken to privatize the NNPC is a good thing or not. Because policies come and policies are subject to adjustment where there is a need. But what is happening today, Mr. Chairman, I don't know. And he's saying again that they are going to do a reconciliation, the Federation account is owing NNPC. So, and with no figures to look and rest of them, Mr. Chairman, I have my doubts. I rest my case. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, you know we've been talking about the headquarters of this agency, which was started sometime in 2021. with 1.8 billion proposed. And as of today, according to the Director of Finance, they are putting about 3.something billion. And they are also asking for additional 1.2 billion. And as we're having this conversation, we cannot predict with certainty when they are going to complete it and how much it will cost to complete it. Because there are so many variables that they have canvassed. One of them, most importantly, is the budget ceiling. Mr. Chairman, the issue about direct labor and this kind of projects is everywhere in this country. It's everywhere in this country. You go around, you see projects that were started in 1999 and they are still working on them. I can say there are two factors responsible for that. One, the budget ceiling. Two, the inability of those who are saddled with the responsibility of managing that place to prioritize what is most important to them at that particular point in time, based on the resources that they have. In this year's budget, they are proposing 1.2 billion naira to be put into this project. At the same time, they are also taking about 600 or something million into auditorium, which at the end of the day will be two ongoing projects with one major factor working against you, which is the budget ceiling. This project that was started in 2021 with 1.8 billion, as of today, will be completed with 9.9 billion. 9.9 billion. It simply means that if we prioritize this project 2 or 3 years after that project, or 2 years after that project, we have completed it. If we do not put money on top places. And Mr. Chairman, you remember last year when in this defense committee during budget defense, I raised the issue of direct labor and also I doubted the validity of their claims that paying direct labor is better. In this kind of project, this magnitude of project, I do not think that are the ones that direct labor is conceived for. This huge project, I know the kind of projects that direct labor are made for. Direct labor are made for quick turnarounds. And with the way this project has been managed, because it's direct labor, it lacks accountability. We cannot, at this point, project correctly that this is the BOQ that can complete it, because everything is still on variables. It lacks accountability and transparency. This project will continue like this if you don't prioritize for the next 5 years. Because every year, they will continue to have budget ceiling because the resources are not enough. They are located across board, and what is available is what is going to be given to you. So it simply means that this project is not likely to be completed this year or 2026, because next year you will still have budget ceiling. So what I will say is this: now that you have started this one with direct labor, if you have any capital vote in this 2025 budget, please endeavor. Mr. Chairman, I will also, lady, please, don't divide the meeting.
No, I'm not dividing.
Okay, just wait.
Okay. I can hear you.
No, it's not you that I don't want you to hear me. It's me I want you to hear me. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that in this 2025 budget, the chairman may be very useful to you by making sure that they recapture whatever is available to you in such a way that you devote most of it to the completion of that project. Because before the end of this year, exchange rate may go up or come down, inflation may go up or come down, and we'll all be in the same circle. So, to finishing this project this year should be a priority for you. You already have about 3.70 billion for capital. By the time you take some other essentials, focus on this building. And it will be a thing of pride for you, DG, that during your tenure, you completed this project. Even if you tighten your belt to complete it, you completed this project that was started 2021 and this is 2025. You completed it. And when we come there for oversight, we'll be happy to see a completed project. And when you come back for 2026 budget defense, we'll be talking about a new project you want to start and finish. I do not believe keeping projects lingering, because the more you keep it lingering, the more the cost of completion. That's all I want to say. And this issue of BPP giving waivers for this kind of construction should be investigated. It's not right. And direct labors, I think direct labors that should be carried out should be defined. It's now being abused. Mr. Chairman, that's my submission. Thank you for the good people of Delta South Nigeria District. I want to align myself with the two previous speakers, Senator Kaka and Senator Yao, in your overhead. In your new book, the overhead was 2.641 billion. And the whole overhead was 100% released. In that release, some items there needs further explanations. He has mentioned it by way of emphasis. Local travels and training, 35 million. Local travels and transports, 847 million. International travel and transport, 75 million. International travel and transport, 381 million. Then if you go to the next page, you still have local training and travel, 131 million 868. If you add all these together, it's almost 60% of your overhead. The component of those items is almost 60% of your overhead budget, which was released to you. Then I also want further explanations on your financial consulting of 272 million 955, 530. We still need explanation of what kind of consultancy that you did that made you to spend such amount of money. Then back to what my colleague Senator Kaka just said concerning who audits the Auditor General. The truth again is that, Mr. Chairman, this committee has a serious role, public accounts, serious role to audit the activities of this office. Simply because there is no other organ of government that is charged with the responsibility of overseeing and crossing the T's and dotting the I's of Auditor General. Therefore, the figures here are to be assumed not to have been audited. They are raw figures, and we need to get sufficient amount of facts to convince us that they are real. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh yes, yes, and then
I think we just have to take the questions collectively so that we just deal with it once and for all. Now, Mr. Chairman, I need your protection.
you are protected. You have the floor.
Thank you.
The 2025 budget has been presented by the Honorable Minister for Labour, Employment and Productivity. But my concerns, following what my colleague has just said, my concerns are the kind of descriptions that we have being presented to us as capital is worrisome. In this 2025 budget, the capital component of the budget is 4.993 billion. 4.993 billion. And if I go through it, going through the items listed to make up that 4.99 billion, everything there looks vague. Everything there looks vague. And to compound issues, items that you may presume as overhead are included in capital budget. So, Mr. Chairman, this budget, especially the capital component of this budget, may need to be looked into critically and reviewed. Everything listed here is, I would say, is transient. It's something that is, you just spend the money and you don't see what is there. But capital component is supposed to be, when you spend the money, you can see the thing that is there. I see empowerment, I see a codification of labor policies here and there. Please, we need to look at it again and streamline it. If you don't have any capital budget, please, you say so that we can move the items to overhead. Then you cannot spend it from overhead. But it's wrong to say capital and everything there is empowerment, is this and is that. So, Mr. Chairman, that's the only note I want to make. Thank you.
Just take it for the purpose of the record.
It is my honor and pleasure to welcome you all to this first meeting of the committee after my appointment as the chairman of the Senate Committee on Local Content. My dear colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me start by thanking God for this appointment and to appreciate the leadership of the Senate, ably led by His Excellency, Senator Joel-Onowakpo, GCON, for finding me worthy for this appointment. I am humbled by this great responsibility. I'm very committed to working tirelessly to promote the development and the utilization of Nigerian content in the oil and gas, as well as other linkage industries. The mandate of this committee is stipulated in Order 96 of the Senate Standing Orders 2023 as amended is clear and unambiguous, which is to ensure that Nigerians benefit maximally from the country's natural resources. For purpose of emphasis, let me read Order 96. Order 96 states, there shall be a committee known as the Committee on Local Content, appointed at the commencement of the Senate. The jurisdiction of the committee shall include the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, matters relating to local capacity development, transfer of technology in oil and gas industries, matters of local content and transfer of technology in other matured industries such as construction, power, railway, ICT, etc. Number 6, issues relating to the patronage of local manpower. 7, receiving annual performance report of the Nigerian local content. 8, annual budget estimates. The committee will work hard to create an enabling environment that fosters the growth of businesses, promote job creation, and develop critical assets and skills. And Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring Board plays a vital role in achieving these aims. The NCDMB was established by the Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act 2010. NCDMB is responsible for guiding, monitoring, coordinating, and implementing the provisions of the Act. The board mandates to increase Nigerian participation in the oil and gas industry, thereby creating economic opportunities and improving the livelihoods of Nigerians. The benefit of local content cannot be overemphasized, as it will lead to 1, the creation of jobs, 2, development of critical assets and skills, as well as the growth of local businesses. 3, government revenue will be increased. 4, there will be improved balance of payment and reduction in our country's dependence on foreign goods and services. To achieve these benefits, collaborations between the committee and NCDMB is essential, as we work closely with NCDMB to ensure that the provisions of the Act are implemented effectively. The committee will not only provide oversight, but it will also support the board in its effort to provide and implement policies that promote local content development. In addition to our collaboration with the board, we will engage with other stakeholders, including operators, service providers, and local businesses. The committee will create an enabling environment that fosters growth of local businesses and promote job creation. We will, among other things, request briefing from the board on the collection and disbursement of Nigerian Content Development Fund. Also ensure that international oil companies and their linkage comply with the existing local content laws and regulations. I wish to assure you that I am committed to working tirelessly with you to promote the development and utilization of Nigerian content, both in the matured industries and in oil and gas sectors. A little bit of emphasis. When we talk about local content, we always think about the oil and gas. It is not. It also concerns the matured industries, construction, manufacturing. How they be able to apply local content in their own area of operation. So we'll be interested in the matured industry as well as the oil and gas industry sector. I will, with your support, ensure that the strict adherence to the effective implementation of the provision of the Act by all responsible parties to maximize the benefit accruing to Nigerians from the country's natural resources. I will be requesting for proper accountability from the board and all the partners responsible for the Nigerian content development. I am therefore appealing for the full cooperation of the board and respective IOCs in the discharge of our functions. Finally, may I respectfully appeal to you, my colleagues, to be dedicated and committed to the assignment of this committee by making yourselves available for meetings, also by bringing your expertise, wealth of experience, and passion so that collectively we can move the committee forward. Thank you for listening, and God bless you all and the Federal Republic of Nigeria, South Natural District. Mr. President, I want to throw more light on what my distinguished colleague, Ned Nwoko, is talking about. These constituencies were in existence, and there were members elected into those constituencies. We have a similar situation in Isoko, not local government. There was a constituency, then after the 1999 constitution, those constituencies were removed. So we are in court to reinstate such constituencies because that deprives our people the opportunity, like every other constituency or local government, to have 2 or 3 constituencies. And for my own particular case, Isoko North, we have only 1 constituency in that local government, state constituency in that local government, which is bigger than most other local government that has 2 or 3 constituencies. So we are in court. And the population supports that. So what he's saying is correct in most places, especially in Delta State, sir. I just want to throw more light. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity.
The Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues. This motion is in respect of the demise of our senator, our father, Aniroko in Delta State and in Nigeria, Chief Edwin K. Clark, OFR, CON, 25th May 1927 to 17th February 2025. This motion is being sponsored by all the members in this from the data in the South zone of Nigeria, namely myself, Joel-Onowakpo Thomas, distinguished Senator, the President of the Senate, Ababi Ogostulobot, Senator Ned Nwoko, Ede Dafinone, Baningo Ipalibo, Senator Yenson Allwell, Senator Piggy Barinada, Senator Etim Bassi, Senator Ekong Samson, Senator Dixon Siraki, Senator Agadaga Benson, Senator Kombowi Benson, Senator Jarigbe, Senator Jonah Eteng, Senator Asukwa Ebeyong, Senator Oshomole Adams, Senator Emaswe Neda. The Senate notes with shock the death of Edwin Clark on the 17th of February 2025 after a brief illness at the age of 97 years. Also notes that Pa Clark was born in Kabodo in the Ijo area of what is now Delta State. He attended primary and secondary schools at Efron, Okreka, and Afugbene before completing further studies at the Government Teacher Training College, which later became Delta State University, Abraka. Thereafter, Clark worked briefly as a school teacher before traveling to the United Kingdom to earn a law degree. Aware that his involvement in the political process began during the pre-independence period when he was elected as a councillor for Bomadi in 1953. Clark later joined the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroon's NCNC. While a student at Holborn College, he was active in the West African Student Union. Aware also that after the military coup of January 1966, Clark was among a group of delegates from the Middle West who opposed any idea of consideration that were raised at an ad hoc constitutional conference set up by Gowon in 1966. The delegation's mandate was Nigerian unity, and when proposal of loose federation were tabled, the region's delegate asked for adjournment. Further aware that he was later appointed Midwestern Commissioner of Education and Finance, and later Finance from 1966 to 1975. As a Commissioner for Education, he was active in the establishment of the Midwest College of Technology that became the foundation of the University of Benin. Recall that during the Second Republic, he was a member of the National Executive Committee of the National Party of Nigeria, NPN, and was the treasurer of the party in Bender State, now in part Delta State, and previously the Midwestern Region Province. In 1983, he was an elected senator from 1979 to 1983. Also recall that in 2016, Clark founded the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF, along with other leaders. The organization's stated objective is to dialogue with stakeholders and lobby for increased attention and implementation of restructuring, development, security policies by the government of Nigeria. Note that he was an Ijo leader and a politician for Delta State who worked with the administration of the military governor Samuel Ogbomundia and head of state General Yakubu Gowon between 1966 to 1975. In 1960, he was a member of an advisory committee to the military governor of the Midwestern Region Province. David Ejo was appointed Federal Commissioner of Information in 1975. Informed that beginning in 1996, Clark was a self-described leader of the Ijaw Nation. He supported the Ijaw ethnic groups in Delta State through an ethnic crisis in Warri and led the Ijaw leadership delegation to meet political leaders. Convinced that Pa Edwin Clark was a nationalist, renowned lawyer, seasoned administrator, philanthropist, and astute advocate for the rise of the Niger Delta, who founded the Edwin Clark Foundation and established a University of Technology in his hometown. Observe that he was a loving father, grandfather, a great-grandfather. He was an amazing man who contributed immensely to his immediate community, his own nations, and the country in general. Accordingly, sir, resolved to 1. Observe a minute silence in his honor. 2. Send a condolence letter to commiserate with the family, the good people of Ijaw, and the government of Delta State. 3. Urge the federal government to immortalize him by naming a national monument after him. Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Distinguished Senator Ide Dafinone.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, Ide Dafinone, representing the good people of Delta Central. I rise to support the motion ably raised by my colleague, Senator Joel-Onowakpo.
This Iroko tree, political Iroko tree, in the person of distinguished Senator Edwin Clark, welfare, CON, on 25th day of May 1927 he was born, and he left on the 17th of February 2025. Is the Senate President, Senator Godswill Joel-Onowakpo, GCON. And I want you to delete Senator Okpebola Monday from the list of those who sponsored the motion, because he's no longer with us. He's now a governor, so he can do that under the governor's forum. So please delete his name from there. Joel, did you hear what I said? I said delete Okpebola. He's no longer with us. He's now a governor. So he will do his own condolence under the governor's forum. I think all that needed to be said had been said. So let me thank Governor Siriaki Dixon, thank Joel-Onowakpo, and all those who have spoken, particularly our elders in this Senate, starting from distinguished Senator Alero to distinguished Senator Baribe, and the very upcoming elder of Nigeria, distinguished Senator Ningi, for their speeches and eulogies on the demise of this iconic statesman. I had the luck of making Pa Edwin Clark a bit happy with development, not just when I was a governor, but when I was a minister of Niger Delta. I was able to work with contractors to complete the 26-year-old edifice that was meant to be the headquarters of the Oil Mineral Producing Areas Commission, UMPADEC, started in 1994 and abandoned. I was able to work and complete it, and I know that Edwin Clark personally wrote to me. He was a man who was excited about development. He wanted to see a better Niger Delta. He wanted to see a better Nigeria. Then I also had the opportunity to do concentric 11 kilometers of roads around his domain using the interlocking system because of the terrain, that could not carry asphalt. And when that was commissioned, he said it was a surprise that after decades of struggle for development, this was the first time he was having a road in his own area, a road within his domain. So when we go for the obsequies, you see the interlocking roads infrastructure that we were able to put together for him under the Niger Delta Development Commission. I can recall how excited he was on that day. And then a lot of people may see him as an activist, but I would rather say that he was a man who lamented over the state of Nigeria. He was pained that Nigeria, with the resources available, should have done better than we did. He saw Nigeria as a sleeping elephant that should actually have been a moving giant, a lion in the Committee of States in Africa. Edwin Clark did his best to fight for the rights of the minorities across the entire country. So he traversed from Niger Delta to the north, from north to Middle Belt, and tried to unite them. And he tried his best in a plural system like Nigeria, with different ethnic groups. You can imagine in a place like Adamawa alone, we have well over 97 ethnic groups in Adamawa State alone. So one man took it upon himself to stand all the way in Delta State to fight for the rights of those minorities. And for some of us from the majority tribe, we may not know how deprived it could be to belong to the minorities, even in terms of employment opportunities, in terms of amenities, and in terms of even patronage in different places. Even sometimes you will belong to the majority tribe like the Ndigbos, and you still suffer the same fate. So you can imagine what Edwin Clark was fighting for, and always on television. He had a very strong voice. His voice resonated above the age of 90. At any point in time when Edwin Clark speaks, you see the passion that he was speaking about Nigeria. And then, I don't know, the voice never went. So today, we have lost him. He has died with a very strong voice that resonated everywhere, and then a voice that every Nigerian child, whether you are 50 years and below or above, will always recognize that that is Edwin Clark, Edwin Clark speaking, when you hear it on television or on radio. We miss him in Niger Delta region. We miss him in Nigeria. I pray to Almighty God to give us another Edwin Clark that will stand for the rights of every Nigerian, irrespective of your tribe, irrespective of your creed, irrespective of your religion, irrespective of whether you are a minority or a majority. And of course, when we read through his different books, you will see the travels of Edwin Clark and his efforts to bring about a just and egalitarian Nigerian society. And so today the Nigerian Senate mourns with the family of Edwin Clark. We mourn with the Giabodo community. We mourn with the Jolan. We mourn with Delta State in particular. We even mourn with the senatorial district of my brother, Senator Siraki Dixon, that we didn't know was part of the Midwest, despite being in the Niger Delta. Little wonder that your wife is from the Southwest. So you were already, so honestly, so now I know if we have to do what we did during the MPN days, when you are too strong, we send you back to Cameroon. We say you are not from Nigeria. I know where to deport you to. I'm telling you. So Nigeria did better than the colonialists. Those ones who just come to a community and cut you into two. This group belonged to Cameroon. This group belonged to Calabar, and all that. I was in Cote d'Ivoire a few weeks ago, And I was shocked to realize that the Ashanti people were also in Cote d'Ivoire. So they did not just cut them, they balkanized them, some in Cote d'Ivoire, some in Ghana, and some of them in Senegal, but the same Ashanti people. So Africa was partitioned without regard to your ethnic affiliation and without consultation with our forefathers. But like I always say, and I will say this on the demise of this great man, that a child of rape should not allow the circumstances of his birth to mar his future. We must manage Nigeria. We must come together in brotherhood to develop this country and just take it as the will of Almighty Allah that we should all remain together and we must work together for the purpose of bringing unity and development to ourselves and to future generations. May His grace to rest in perfect peace. Let us look at the prayers. Observe a minute silence in honor of Pa Edwin Clark for his services to our nation. Those in support of prayer one say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2. Send a letter of condolence that has been corrected by the senior senator. Just take it for the purpose of the record.